Welcome to the Friday Fraudster podcast with Kelly Paxton, pink collar crime expert, Joe Erven, your person for all things ethics, and Robert Berry, the guy who helps you ask better questions. Join them as they discuss sad, funny, and sometimes disturbing fraud stories. Be sure to catch past episodes on your favorite podcasting platform or go to www.fridayfraudster.com and grab some CPE while you're there.
Ooh, well, welcome to episode number 91. I think I put 901 in the title. I'm foreshadowing that we're going to be around for that long, right? So, Kelly, so look, you guys, Joe is a college professor now. And Joe, today's the first day of class, right, Kelly?
Oh, I don't know.
Was
The
that
first day
last
on a
week?
Friday? No.
Oh, wait a minute. No, that's not today. Something's going on today, I think, with school. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I'm getting old, so I don't remember as much as I used to. So, okay.
If I were a student and someone said Friday's the first day of school, I'm like, yes, thank you.
Maybe it's the first week. Maybe that's what it is.
Look we have all sorts of people today. I love this.
Yeah,
Stephanie
we do.
worried. Oh my gosh. Don't worry, Stephanie. We're here. We are here. Like
Stephanie, and even if we're not here, I'll bring in artificial intelligence to do an episode. Did you see the Christmas episode? Go back and check that one out. Carol is here. Thomas is here. Hey, so look, Kelly, Galena, I got a question I want to ask you guys. So Kelly, you've written a book, right? Now,
it's an amazing book. I so enjoyed it. Truly enjoyed it. Thank you.
It is. It's a really good book. Why don't you tell everybody the title of your book, Kelly?
Yes, Embezzlement: How to Prevent, Detect, and Investigate Pink Collar Crime. But you guys, you know what's so funny? I have been to the post office over 50 times mailing my book, media mail. I send it either in a white envelope with pink ink or a pink envelope. Not once has a postal clerk mentioned anything until yesterday. And yesterday, it was a newer clerk, and she's like, oh, look, you have pink ink. And then I pull out my little wallet that is pink that I bought with Mary Dodge in Denver. And I said, yeah, well, my book is pink too. And so she's like, I'm going to buy it. And I'm like, no. I'm going to just drop one off. She was like so cute about it. I have never had anyone ask me. And yesterday was the first time. And I explained pink collar crime, which I'm on a little bit of a tear today. Someone mansplained me on LinkedIn and I am on a tear. So
they did what?
They mansplained me. According to
do tell. I have no idea. I'm learning new things every single day.
Collared crimes. He doesn't like collars. He doesn't like white collar. He hates red collar, and he really hates pink collar. And so
what does he want? Like round neck crime? I mean, sorry.
You know what? Was
he part of the white collar crime ring?
So I want to ask you guys in the chat. I could tell people I'm an embezzlement expert, or I could say I'm the pink collar crime lady. And if you met me for the first time, would you go, oh, that's interesting I'm an embezzlement expert? Or would you say, ooh, what's pink collar crime?
Exactly. The second one is the best one.
Well, and you know what? The whole idea, I didn't coin the term pink collar crime, and he's just on a tear. I didn't coin the term. You just made it better. But if it gets people's attention to the problem, I'm good with it. Would I rather say I'm the embezzlement expert? Yeah. And people are going to go, boring. But if I say I'm the pink collar crime lady and I show up in pink, they're going to be interested. So, okay, Sri, thank you. Yeah. I didn't come up with it. And I get crap all the time.
Look perfect. So, Kelly, I mean, seriously, is he engaging with you on like comments or something like that? Or in a private messages? If it's in the comments, that's like an advertisement. I mean, they say that no press is bad press, or like that, whatever. All press is good press. So I would just be like, yes, this is who I am. This is my message. Take it or leave it, but I'm not changing. But thank you for your feedback. Unsolicited.
Well, so now let me ask you, Kelly, why did you write your book?
Because so many people wanted me to write my book, and the stories, and like Dan Ramey has his students read it and they love it, and it makes it relatable. So I want to normalize not the crime of pink collar crime. I want people to understand it happens and there's no victim shaming. And I'm doing a podcast in a couple of weeks with another podcaster, and our whole talk was today about trust and not victim shaming. But of course, we victim shame who? Theranos people. Oh.
Yeah. So Leslie just said she was on a webinar and they mentioned you. So that's a good thing. So look, you wrote your book because people were asking you to write it because the subject was something that people needed to know about. And I imagine that that's why most people end up writing books. So now let me ask you and everyone listening a question. So first, let me set up a scenario for you. Picture a partner in a CPA firm that is losing money. And he decides to write a book to supercharge his career and to boost the firm's notoriety and credibility. And so when he does that, he ends up going on speaking engagements. The firm starts to now become profitable again and making a bunch of money. That happens a lot of times, right? People write books and they get notoriety. That notoriety then hopefully brings them income, although my book hasn't done that yet for me. I mean, people seem to like it, but it hadn't brought me the notoriety to be a worldwide traveler and a millionaire yet. By the way, there's my book right there, in case anybody was wondering, right there.
And it's great.
Thank you. Ask better questions, get better answers, perform better audits. So now we've got this partner in a CPA firm. He decides to write a book to bring some notoriety to the firm, and it actually works. So now my question is, what happens if we find out that he paid a ghostwriter $30,000 to actually write the book? How do you feel about that? And people in the chat listening, tell me, how do you feel? What is your initial thought on that, Galena? What's your thought on that?
I don't care. He
You don't
found a
care?
way. No, he found a way to make money. And did he break the law? No. Was it ethical? But
Wait, finish that sentence. Was it ethical?
yeah, was it ethical? I don't know. Right?
There's a lot of ghostwriters out there.
Right.
And my daughter
Hey,
actually
Prince Harry. Hello. How many millions he made, right? And someone said he had the best ghost writer.
Yeah. I asked my daughter, because she listens to a podcast about books, and people don't say they use ghostwriters, but apparently this podcast is like, oh yeah, that's a ghostwriter. And I said something about Obama, and this is not political at all. And she's like, oh no, he would never let a ghostwriter touch his stuff. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So, yeah.
Very, very interesting. So Galena said, doesn't bother her because, well, it's not illegal. And Kelly says that there are a lot of ghostwriters around. I do agree with that. So I'm curious, you guys listening on YouTube, LinkedIn, what do you think? What happened? What happens in that situation and how do you feel about it? Now, this is my man, Jay Anthony. He says he should have disclosed it. He could be compromised by his ghostwriter or others. Okay. So far we have several different opinions about someone who used a ghostwriter to write a book and didn't disclose that they actually used a ghostwriter.
I mean, I'm a CPA, right? I'm like amazing, at accounting. I know everything about debits and credits. But oh, by the way, I also have this incredible gift of writing. All of a sudden, they
Wait a
just
minute,
came.
I do, and I'm a CPA.
Bingo.
I write all my stuff.
So wait a second. second. Are you telling us about your story, about yourself, or
No, I'm
is there
saying
someone
I
else?
actually do write all of my stuff.
Who paid for it? The partner or the firm?
Ooh, see that there's another good question. The partner paid for it out of his own pocket.
I mean, the only thing I see is, if he's been using stories that came from the practice when was employed or is employed, right? So the stories are not really his stories, but someone that is currently employing him, then, I mean, that could be probably an area I would look into.
Okay.
But other than that, I mean, is it why can't he? Like, what's stopping him from narrating the stories from his experience? Even if he hired a ghostwriter.
Now, Thomas says that if the main writer doesn't care and he knew the plans, then he's okay with it, to be honest. He also said, but I also rarely buy books because a celebrity wrote it. And Stephanie says, people respect you more when you're open and honest. If you don't disclose, we wonder what else someone is being dishonest about. So this brings up a difference between something being morally right and legally right. Because, I mean, realistically, the scenario I just presented to you is not against the law. It's very much so okay. But ethically, some people may have an issue with it. Now, you're probably wondering, why in the world are we talking about books? We're talking about books because today's story, wow, it's pretty interesting. Today's story, an Italian man pleads guilty to book fraud. Filippo Bernard, doggone it, I'm gonna mess that last name up. Let's say Mr. B. He's a 30-year-old publishing industry. 30-year-old, yes. He's a 30-year-old publishing industry worker, formerly living in London. Now, he faces one charge of Hal's favorite crime, wire fraud, for engineering a multi-year scheme. Well, he faces up to 20 years in prison, and he's already agreed to pay $88,000 in restitution. But you want to know what he did? They say that from around August of 2016, he used his knowledge of the publishing industry to purchase a bunch of internet domain names that were similar to publishing company web addresses. He used them to, trick up and coming authors and even some famous authors. For example, hold on one second. For example, Margaret Atwood. Now, some of you may have heard of her. She wrote, what did she write? Anybody know what she wrote?
Handmaid's Tale.
The Handmaid's Tale. So he actually tricked her. So he would send them emails asking for manuscripts using those fake websites. He would also have them log in to his fake websites, which were similar in name to the actual publishing house that they were looking for. Then he would get their username and passwords, which also allowed him to go and get manuscripts. So what do you think, Galena, Kelly?
Well, this is a tie-in to my podcast that's going to drop on Tuesday. So I did a podcast episode with an email just email company. And we talked at the end, no spoilers, about the Frank case, the JP Morgan. And they're like, it would have taken us 20 minutes to figure out that those email addresses are fake. So again, in this case, it's like, there's some things that are so basic that we don't even think about them. And like, this is one, email addresses. How many email addresses do you guys have?
Just a couple.
How about you, Galena?
I use that hide my email a lot. So yeah. Function.
Well, on average, people have about 5. but you have one that is the
right.
stickiest. So it's actually because of the Frank case and then this case, you guys, our emails go with us wherever we go. Wherever we go, they will go with us.
Yeah.
And we can use them to prevent fraud. 3, yeah. Personal and business, yep, 3. I have 5, but I have 1 or 2 that I have my first email address ever that I still use for junk. Like, just sign up for Pottery Barns, get 10% off. Give us your email address.
Now, what is that? A Yahoo, an AOL? What is
Hotmail?
it? Hotmail. Yeah, mine is a Hotmail as well. That it's been around for forever, and I can't get rid of it because there's so much junk in there. But yeah. So now here's what's. Oh wait. Did you tell us what the Oh yeah, you did just tell us what the podcast episode is
It'll
going to
drop
be
on
about.
Tuesday. Episode
It's going to
102.
drop on Tuesday. Great Women in Fraud. Wait, no. Have we changed the name? Fraudish now. I was about to say, have we changed the name?
I got to
officially?
send you new pictures.
Yeah, you got to send me a new picture. Oops, let me take that off. So here's the other thing with that too, though. Companies who are doing business and who are on the internet need to have what I call wraparound domain names. See, I think auditors should know how to audit a bunch of different things, and I'm actually an expert at auditing social media. Your website is social media. You should have wraparound domain names. So, for example, if you are Walmart.com, you should have Walmarts.com. You should have allmarts.com. Because what he was doing was he was actually setting up websites that looked like the real publishing house's websites. Then by proxy, he had access to email accounts that would be off by like 1 letter or 1 digit or whatever. And so when people went to the internet to see if he was a real company, they would see what looked like that publishing house's website because it was a spoof website, essentially. In order to prevent that, you get a wraparound domain name for your business. When you have that wraparound domain name for your business, then people cannot spoof your company. So
that's a great point.
Yeah, I mean,
really,
again,
really
and
great
if
point.
anyone out there listening is interested in me coming in and training their audit staff on how to do a social media audit, again, we're talking about the back end business processes, not looking at your content. We're looking at the back end processes such as domain name management. Give me a call because this is easy. This is preventable here. What say you, Galena?
Well, I mean, no, those are excellent points. But, going back to your story, he was convicted. He pled guilty. And I think the sentencing is going to be just under 2 years. I think he's going to serve under 2 years in prison. They recommended between 15 and 21 months. He's going to pay a restitution of a few $1,000s, but then there's also that $88,000 on top. But no one knows why. Right? That's the biggest question. Why did you do that? Because those manuscripts did not end up anywhere, right? So it almost seems like he still has them. And so there is a conspiracy theory out there that there's someone else, right? There's a co-conspirator and there's something bigger than that, right? But I want to get a little bit political here, and I want to say that he and George Santos can probably get together.
That was great. That was great. So now, for those who don't know who George Santos is, he's a U.S. senator who has been caught fabricating.
34 years old.
Yeah, he's been caught fabricating a lot of things. He lied about where he went to school, allegedly lied about where he went to school, the companies that he worked for on his publicly available resume, because a lot of that stuff is public record. How you do that and not think that you won't get caught is just beyond me.
So I have to read something from the U.S. District Attorney for Southern District of New York. You got to give it to the lawyers, man. Where's Hal when I need him? He's going to laugh at me making fun of it. Praise law enforcement and prosecutors for writing, quote, the final chapter to Bernardini's manuscript theft theme. Oh, what a punster. Oh, such a punster. Like, Did he think that was clever? Did he work like how many 6-minute increments to figure that little pun out?
Somebody got paid a lot of money to write that pun. Yeah.
I mean, it's also goes to the point, how much money did they spend on prosecuting this individual, right? I mean, this is how much of taxpayers' money they spent on this. For it's intellectual property crime, right? I mean, obviously, artists should be protected for their products, etc. But I mean, to me, it's just wild. They spent almost a year, 2 years, I think. I don't recall how long they've done this, but it's like a wild amount of time for writing the final chapter.
Well,
It took them a while.
Is it the final chapter, or will there be an epilogue? What will his
Sequel.
epilogue be?
Sequel.
God. Here's what
We're
really got
just
me
as
though.
bad as the lawyers.
They initially wanted to charge him, or he has been charged with wire fraud.
Low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, because I'm assuming either he did exchange some money, like he, like ransomware. He said, "Pay me this money to get your manuscript back."
There was no
Some of them?
ransomware. No, there was no ransomware.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Absolutely.
saying. So where did the wire fraud come in, unless it was just the fact that he used electronic means, like websites and email? Yeah,
So Miss Atwood, the writer, one of the writers, she's from Canada.
yes.
So I'm curious, and she's was one of the victims, right? So I'm curious, if something, there's some kind of exchange occurred there. I mean, potentially, right? That's just the first thing that comes in my mind. But I mean, yeah.
Very, very true. Very, very true. All right. So Bonita has joined us today. Hello, Bonita. So, Bonita, we just celebrated 100 episodes of the book club yesterday. So, if you don't know about the book club, we do it every Thursday live on LinkedIn at what time? 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. And the good thing about it is, if you're like me and you're lazy, you don't have to read the book because Bonita will read the book for us. But in all seriousness, I do read most of the books or listen to most of the books and join in on the discussion. But it's very fun. If you're just looking for a fun book club, then you need to come to Bonita's Book Club every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now back to the story on the Friday Fraudster, episode 901. So today, a gentleman was accused of, stealing manuscripts, and he went through
Guilty.
he went through a huge scheme just to do it. He built fake websites, obtained fake email addresses, and tricked people into sending him manuscripts, and we still don't really know why.
160 domains, right? I mean, if you think about it, even if they're resembling famous publisher, houses' websites, right? They're going to cost some money. So, and plus you have to renew them on annual or however long basis. So there's some money right there. So again, going back to why, what is the point? And even though he admitted that, yes, I did it, it's wrong, there's still no why.
Yeah.
So anyone out there, anything in the comments, you guys, let us know. What do you think? Why he did that?
I think he's a groupie.
Ooh,
What?
There's another name for it, but I won't say it because this is a G-rated podcast. But let's just say star something. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, well, because he not only targeted unknown authors, but also famous people. Apparently, the actor Ethan Hawke was one of the people that got caught up in this web as well. So maybe he was attention starved and wanted some fame. It's just weird.
You know what it makes me think about? I don't know if you guys ever saw The Devil Wears Prada, but the Anne Hathaway character had to get a manuscript of Harry Potter for the woman's son.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of funny about that. Well, and people steal books. Like, you know, maybe he thought he was going to sell these down the road, like, you know, first edition or, you know, signed manuscripts or something. Maybe he just got caught before his full grift could be profitable.
Yeah, and Jay Anthony is saying if he intercepts the books and then gets it published elsewhere, you know. But goodness, it's weird because getting a book published is a huge deal, and there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
You could have a really good manuscript that doesn't get published because the publishing company thinks that you don't have a big enough social media following, and then there are a lot of crappy books that get published based on someone's name. So that's why I can't reconcile, like, why did he do it?
I have what do you think about if do manuscript, like, are all manuscripts published everywhere in the worldwide? Like, I just had this crazy idea. What if he was working for ISIS, you know, or, you know, like wanting to publish those, you know, in like, I mean, I doubt it, you know, because Taliban is very, you know, it's let's not go there. But I mean, there are parts of the world that have that, you know, people just can't get access to our books here. So
now, this is a good point.
Other thing is, like, did you guys see the Melissa McCarthy movie where she forged authors' notes, letters?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So maybe maybe he had a grand scheme of things.
Now, here's a good point. He may want to post the book on sites and get paid when people download the book. Yeah. But I thought about that, but my only thing against that is usually with those sites, there's a book that's already popular and famous that's out there, and then you sell these bootleg copies, unless you're saying, which this is a good thought, maybe after the books got famous, he would already have the manuscript and it'd be easy for him to do it in a PDF and sell it on those sites. So he was a forward-thinking criminal. He was forward-thinking. That's what it was.
He was system 2 instead of system 1 thinking.
Well, all right, you guys, we are going to wrap up the show this week, but we want to thank everybody for joining us. Look, this week, who really wrote the book that you're reading? This person stole manuscripts. We still can't figure out why. They're going to serve some time and they're going to pay restitution. But the amount of work they put into doing this crime just seems odd, just very odd. And listen to Kelly's podcast on Tuesday, because you'll see how they could have been able to tell that the email addresses were fake in a heartbeat, because she has a great interview with a great organization that helps companies with that kind of work.
Kelly, do you have a website or a link to your podcast? Can you drop it in the notes, comments?
I
would love to listen if you have it. It's very interesting. That Frank case right now, JP Morgan. Yeah, absolutely.
Let me see. I will quickly do it.
Awesome.
Control C, and then
all right. So Bonita said her mind is blown. So now, while we're here, you guys, if you come across any stories you'd like for us to talk about in only the way that we can, send them to us. We'll be glad to cover them, because this is just fun for us. Aren't you guys having fun here with us? By the way, if you really like us, go to Apple, Spotify, all your favorite podcasting platforms. Give us a 5-star rating, and then tell people why you actually like the show too. So until next week, see you guys later.